Another lawn mowing live stream today. It's Thursday morning, and decided to come back on and do a live stream for today. It's a bit early, so I don't know how many people will join us during the live. Uh, going to be doing a couple of houses, I think. There's two houses, two front yards that I can do um, on the same street. I will have to move the truck in between. Parking is an absolute nightmare today. It's like nobody's working or something. So there's very limited parking available. I did manage to find a spot, but had to park down the road for the first one. So unfortunately, gonna have to walk over there. So let me turn the camera around, put it in the holder. Also the reception of the cell reception isn't the greatest today in this neighborhood, despite the weather being really good. The oops, the cell reception is terrible. Matthew, hello. Thanks for joining again, Matthew. I was just explaining that I'm going to be doing a couple of front yards on the same street. Going to have to move the truck in between. This neighborhood is not the greatest for cell reception, even though it's a beautiful day. So I'm not sure if the stream will get choppy. Parking is also absolutely horrendous today. For this small little front yard, I'm gonna have to walk down the block because this was the only parking spot that I could find. So that kind of is kind of a pain. So I found this one parking spot. Just set this down for a second. I tightened up the camera too much, so I can't do my adjustments on it. That works. So I found that parking spot there, but you can see there's like no parking signs in the middle because of the hydrant. And then there's a car parked in the middle there. So not enough room. There's a driveway over there. On this side of the road, there's no parking. Past this sign where this truck is parked. So it's a real nuisance. I tried parking behind that Tesla there, but it wasn't long enough. At least I don't think it was long enough. It was like sticking out into the driveway. Usually I park along here, but for some reason there's just cars everywhere across the street. There's a bunch of cars. At the last house I was at, there was the parking patrol driving around, and it's the same neighborhood, so I didn't want to risk it because I was thinking about just at the back there behind that car, but there's no parking there. So it's always a pain. So I just decided to park farther away and walk. Michael Wojcik says hello. Thanks for joining. This one is growing like crazy. This is a lawn I do front yard only. The homeowner fertilizes it themselves. I think they're going a little bit too aggressive on that fertilizer. Look at that. It's like going to seed already in 1 week. Walking into the trees there. This is dry though, so it should help. beside the neighbor kind of cut. But I will do the edging. Looks like the neighbor's been edging it too. It's a bit wide. Yeah, it's looking like I can't see the how many cell bars are on. It doesn't show me on the screen, but showing me the upload speed, it's looking pretty slow. It's only like 2,000 kilobytes per second. Where normally it's about 6,000. It's probably pretty choppy, I would think. Just this neighborhood, for some reason, this particular street, where my cell provider might not be getting enough signal. Tommy Hanlon says, hello from Dublin, Ireland. Hello. What the heck time is it in Dublin? Must be like the middle of the night. Or is it early in the morning? No, it can't be early in the morning because it's early in the morning here. Man, that is thick. Looks like I had a piece break off. Dang it. Wonder if I can tap some out. It looks precarious. Did it come out both sides? Oh, yes, it did. Great. I was worried that piece broke out. Put in some Oregon Gator Blade, Oregon Gator Blade, Oregon Gator Line. Is it Gator Line? I don't know, I can't remember now. I think it's Gator Line. At any rate, there's some leftover Gator Line that I had. It's probably pretty old, I think, because I can't remember the last time I used it. And I was like, let me get rid of it so I can throw out the spools and stuff. But it's probably pretty brittle. Because I haven't used it in quite a while. The Gator Line, that is. I was asking some others what their, man, I hate trimming or edging besides nice fancy cars. Like, look, I already got it all dirty. That sucks. But what can you do? It is what it is. Unfortunately. Push out some more. With neighborhoods, it's part of the problem with just being no parking, that there's always every square inch of available parking being used, right? And then you get like lots of fancy cars, and you're having to oh, fire truck. I don't know what's going on with that. Looking for an address. Maybe they're looking for somewhere to park. Oh, it's back. Walk back to the truck. Let's see. Got some comments here. Early in the mowing, it is. Sorry, Tommy says early mowing. Did you choose to go with a or 2-strokes banned? No, 2-strokes are not banned. I prefer battery equipment. It took a while. It's a different. You got to kind of like with some things, like a string trimmer and stuff like that. You kind of got to get used to it. If you're going straight from a gas unit, you got to learn how to trim with it differently to manage power. Although this is kind of my experience, but that's already from like years ago. The new stuff is much better in terms of battery and stuff like that, but it's kind of like my kind of the journey that I was on when I switched to battery. So initially, I even put out videos with the initial Milwaukee, the original generation Milwaukee was the first battery trimmer I got, and it was a great trimmer. Really liked it. It had tons of power and stuff. But if you watch my original video from like years ago, probably around 2017 or so, I did a video that was like gas versus electric. And I talk about it's really kind of useless because at the same time, it was so cheap to run a gas trimmer. Like, you know, you use a couple ounces of fuel, and actually, you know what? I'm going to take the blower with me too. Try and save a trip. Might as well. So initially, that was kind of my thinking, was it's good and everything, but you know, you'd need more batteries, and it's not really worth it at the time. It was only when, and I can't remember exactly, it might have been during pandemic, where gas just went like through the roof, got crazy, that I was like looking for ways to just looking for creative ways where I could stay really competitive still, not raising prices. So a good way to do that was to cut costs, right? It's kind of like all these businesses that say, you know, downsizing and all that sort of stuff, looking for ways to cut costs to be more profitable. So I thought, okay, well, battery equipment, I've got that Echo trimmer. I had messed with the hedge trimmer, and the Echo hedge trimmer was amazing. Had like a 2-hour battery life on a single charge of a 9-amp-hour battery. I was already preferring using the Milwaukee hedge trimmer over gas stuff, and I like literally still using. But then, like I said, because of the cost of fuel and all that was going through the roof, I was looking for alternatives, and so started using the battery string trimmers more often, and battery handheld blowers, and really enjoyed those. So then the missing piece was mowers. And like I say, it took a little bit of getting used to the fact that, it's different. You can run it on low power or high power. This lawn, I'm definitely going to raise the front wheels up to the 2.5 on both front and rear. Start off in low power too, and see how the cut looks. So it's just one of those, it was a long progression for me to switch to battery. But the more and more, like even a couple of days here and there that I would use it and stuff, I started to find, like initially that first generation Milwaukee equipment was not rated for getting wet. So I would use it on days like today, sunny and dry. But then when it rained, I would go back to my Echo 2620 gas stuff, 2-stroke. And what I started to find, just my own preference, was that I started to really hate using the gas stuff. The smell started to really bother me when I would go long stretches of using the battery stuff. The noise started to really bother me. And you don't notice it when you're using it every day, day in, day out. Well, you do notice it, but it's not something you think of. It's just the way it is. But when you use something different that doesn't have those things, then it's like, man, like, I really, really like the battery stuff. Much better. So it just became one of those things. And then last year I started using, or the year before, I started using the Crest stuff, and that stuff was rated for being used in the rain. So that took that barrier away and allowed me to go full battery. And at that point then, it was just like there was no turning back. Because it's quiet. It's, sorry I didn't notice the angle of the camera there. It's quiet. The smell and all that stuff. In fact, now it's been about 1.5 years of using just battery mostly, except for the big sit-down mowers are the only thing I use now that are gas. For the most part, in the aerator. That now, even the smell, like if there's another landscaper, a couple houses down or whatever, and they're using like a steel backpack blower or something, or an Echo backpack blower, anything 2-stroke, and the wind or the air carries the smell of that 2-stroke, I immediately get a gag reflex to like vomit. It's just so weird after using it every day for, would have been at the time when I switched fully about 18 years, 17 years, something like that, using gas and 2-stroke every day, to then only 2 years of using battery, and now it's like, ugh, just get nauseous. That the smell and the sound is just so irritating. Myself like a battery snob. It's one of those things. It's just a much, for me at least, being a solo operator, where it's not a big deal to have a couple batteries and stuff like that. Right? It's not like I've got crews and would need like 20 batteries to get through a day. And like I said, new batteries, new technology is amazing. For example, this is the first week I'm using this. And I'm using it with the new Forge batteries that they have. And morning. And those Forge batteries I have had in the blower since Tuesday morning. They have done every house. Now, obviously, it's all small houses. I'm not doing leaf cleanups or anything with them. It's just cleaning the grass clippings and stuff, but I haven't even charged them yet. It's been since Tuesday. It's now Thursday, so it's been 3 days of working. And I think they're at like 2 bars left. I'll have to check again when I get to the end here. We can kind of look. So, like, the technology is just getting so impressive. Lithium technology, those tabless batteries. So I always say, like, things like the Crest, which were amazing when they came out, 3 years ago, and they still are amazing, the fast charging and all that stuff. Incredibly expensive, of course, but it's been 3 years. That's a lifetime in technology. So things like these tabless Milwaukee batteries and stuff like that have come a long way in that time. And, it's a great platform. Feels like it's clogging up here just by the sound. Tommy says that's a nice trailer with the ramp. Yeah, thanks. Comment because of the sun glare on the screen with it literally pointing downwards. It means the screen is kind of flat. Yeah, it's a good trailer. I've had it since I started, so about 20 years. I redid it in 2000 and what was it? 2010. Redid it in terms of had it starting to show rust and stuff, and so I had it, and I also had left with, so it had different branding and different color and stuff on it. So I had taken it to a place that does like sandblasting, and they sandblasted the entire trailer right down to bare metal, inside and outside, and then had it repainted. Oh. Had the decals redone. I actually did the decals myself. I have a sewing machine, so I cut the decals myself, stuck them on there, and so it's been a few years since that. How about your mower? Is that battery too? Yes, this is a 60-volt Crest battery mower. There's a big battery right there. Very expensive mower. That's pretty good going. Certainly the technology has come a long way, but the price is still quite high. Yes, that is the thing. And that's why I like, I'm going to be testing a lot more of this Milwaukee stuff that I have there, like the new blower, the mower I am waiting on to test out. Oh, I'm getting an error. Probably because I did something wrong. Let's just throw that back in there. Must have hit the trigger before. There's like a safety sequence you gotta do to turn the mower on. Obviously, that battery there that's inside that mower there, I believe is like, in Canada, it's like $1,700 for just the battery. So, and I would expect it to only get more expensive with, the way the world is right now with things. All this technology stuff is all coming out of China as well. So those in the U.S. are going to feel a huge price increase, I would expect, um, because of tariffs that they've imposed on Chinese products. So either these companies are going to have to try to have stuff built in other countries to avoid that, like Apple is doing. Apple has announced like they're going to try to get more of their iPhones built in India because it still does not make sense to, despite what people are saying, to manufacture stuff in the US. It's just too expensive. Apple is opening a US factory and will have, but it'll be a fraction of what they're producing. It's just impossible to do the scale that they do. So these companies like this are going to have to, if these tariffs stay long term, I would imagine, would be finding other sources to manufacture. So here's an issue here that I see if I can get away with that. Yeah, that's not too bad. I can just hand pull it. There's a spot there under the tree that looks like I missed with the trimmer, and of course, because I can't be parked over here, it's to walk all the way back to get the trimmer again is the downside of not having the parking available. Oh, goodness. Ironically, this little lawn takes me longer than some bigger ones just because of how thick it is, and it's one of the nicer ones. It's small and stuff, so I just try to kind of keep it neat and tidy. See, like this corner again, because I'm mowing tight, kind of squishes down. So if I had the trailer here, I would maybe hit that edge again. But because I don't, what I'm going to do is just use the blower to try to push the grass again. Kind of the downside of these neighborhoods is the parking. The last one that I did was the same. It was horrible. I don't know, certain days that are just like, I'm always like, don't you people work? You feel bad about getting grass all over people's shiny cars. It looks like it was just detailed. It's like, sorry, not much I can do about that. Sometimes they learn. I had one client where one of the neighbors was always parked like that in front of my client's property, and only took a couple of months for them to not park there again on mowing days. It's like, it's unfortunate. I don't mean to get your car all covered in juicy, lush grass clippings, but not much I can do if you're parked there. Can't skip these lawns because literally it would be every week. So, Parker, beware. Looks like the fire truck is gone. So power back on this mower so I can use the self-propel. Not have to push it. So the next one is down the street. So I have to move the truck. Hopefully there's parking at that one. Other than that, though, very nice neighborhood. Nice, kind of fancy houses. All little like cul-de-sacs everywhere. Little neighborhoods tucked around. So because the other house is just literally down the block on this same residential street, I'm not gonna stop the stream. I'll just keep it going. Yeah, so what are we at here? So still 2 bars there. This battery showing 1 bar, and that battery showing 1 bar. So that's still from Tuesday. And those are 8.0 Forge batteries. That's that new tabless battery technology. Amazing little blower. Very happy with it. So once I start the truck here, the audio is going to try to switch to the truck's Bluetooth, so it's not going to be as great. Tommy says that lawn is in awkward shape. Yeah, it is. Is that your usual? Sorry, I'm going backwards with the comments. Is that your usual deal? The customer disposes of. Every house here has that green bin. It's picked up. In it, you also put. Sorry again. The audio. Sound like I'm far away. Every house has that green bin. It's picked up every week. You put in all your organic waste, so including all your food waste, leftovers, things like that, that you would normally, I guess, previously put in your garbage. You put in the green bin. So the green bin gets picked up every week. Every house puts them out on garbage day, and so it's one of those things. Regardless of whether a customer puts out that bin or they don't. For example, if I were to take the grass clippings away, that customer would be paying a higher price because I would have to dispose of the grass clippings, but they would still be paying the city for that green waste pickup because there's no option to not have that picked up and not pay that portion of your like city utilities, city services. So it makes no sense to haul around grass clippings for me. I learned that. I've been doing this for 20 years. I learned that in the first 6 months that it just was not something I was going to do. Was it was just something. It was just something I learned that I was not going to do. um, 6 months into doing this, almost 20 years ago, was the grass clippings was a pain. Everybody was paying for their grass clippings to be picked up by the city. There's no option to not do that, so might as well. And previously it was bags. I had to like bag it, and I would carry bags and all that stuff. Now every house, the city provides those bins. It's so easy to dump into. You're not messing around with bags falling over and things like that. I don't have to haul. It saves me fuel. It doesn't rot the trailer out. Having, especially here where it's always raining, having wet, stinky, smelly grass, it doesn't, unless I was going to the dump every week or every day. Oh shoot, I might have to move the truck a little bit. I got distracted. Yeah, it's not going to be able to open my door with the pole there. You have to pull forward a little bit. It doesn't peeve off my neighbors at my own house if I've got like grass sitting, because I wasn't going to go and dump grass every day in the trailer. Didn't need to be. Let me just pull forward. Again, it's going to switch the eventually. Oh, no, it switched. And now. So, don't know if that switched. So yeah, I just started just not taking clippings with me back in the day. So it's been about, literally, I think I only hauled grass clippings in the back of this trailer for the first 6 months that I was in business. And it's just starting to rot out now around the sides. There's some rust and stuff, but I know a lot of, and this is 20 years old, I know a lot of guys with these trailers from the franchise system that within the first, 6-7 years, the trailer was completely rotted out already from just being wet all the time. It's always wet grass we're dealing with here in the Pacific Northwest, and hauling that, always sitting on top of the trailer. Even the floor in here is pretty good. There's a couple of spots where there's holes starting to show, and I can show you that when I pull the mower out in a minute. On this property, I can probably just leave the door open in that kind of half position there, since it's just the front yard and I'm parked right in front of the house. Right here, just this little strip here and that strip. Oh. As always, you guys joining the stream, watching the stream, let me know where you're watching from. We've got, I think, one person from Ireland at the moment. It's pretty cool. Get that one on the way around. You see this one has some Schaefer beetle damage there. So I just quoted this client to repair some of this stuff. Reseeding and top dressing and stuff. I haven't heard from them. I haven't heard back from them yet on that. I already do like the aerating and liming and fertilizing and stuff. So I've just done that normal stuff just last week. This house, I believe, will probably be going for sale this year. But they had told me last year already that it was just going to be a temporary no, even last year. But we're still here, so I'm still mowing it. But I would expect it to, from what they were telling me last year, that it would be selling this year. Selling this year at some point. Again, if you put a comment, I gotta kind of wait until I can see the screen. And the sun's at my back, the glare is right on the screen. Guy playing with tools. Hey, Tommy, and everybody else. Hello, Tommy's got fans. Tommy is popular. So a lot of these houses here in this neighborhood, there's quite a few that are like this, where it might be just front yard only. They'll have like swimming pools and stuff in the background, in the backyard. No like no yards, or they might have like a little patch of like artificial turf or something. Anybody catch that game last night? The soccer game or football here in Europe? The one here in North America, the Vancouver Whitecaps against the Miami FC and Messi. It was a championship semifinal, I think it was. That was pretty neat to see my hometown Vancouver team to beat Messi for the second time in 2 weeks. I was at the game last week to go see Messi. I'd never seen him play live before. I had seen him practice though once when I was in Seattle during one of my kids' soccer tournaments. They had a big soccer tournament in Seattle at a place called, the tournament was called the Starfire Tournament. It was at the practice facility where the Seattle Sounders MLS team, it's like their home practice field. And at the end of the tournament, like literally we were like the last team, we were like having like a picnic. Everybody had gone home, all the other teams and stuff were getting ready to leave. And this big tour bus pulls in. We're like, what the heck? Who the heck is that? Like, it's ready to end of the day and stuff. And then a whole bunch of other cars were coming behind it, almost like following the bus. And we're kind of curious. We went to go look with some other parents, and out pops the Argentinian team. And they were like warming up for like a qualifying game or something against the U.S. And I was like, holy smokes, there's Messi. It was an unexpected surprise. That's something I would be normally counting on seeing in the U.S., like talking like 10 years ago. So people were like, they were behind this field that had like black plastic on the chain link fence so that you couldn't see them, but everybody was like climbing the fence and nipping over. And so it's kind of neat to then, like 10 years later now, see that he's in North America and kind of finishing off his career. And I was playing my hometown team. He was supposed to come last year. They had a scheduled game and just a regular like league game, and he didn't show up. And the local MLS team here, the Whitecaps, made the grave mistake of advertising ticket sales all around Messi showing up when he didn't. So people were pretty upset because ticket prices and scalpers and stuff started going through the roof. And at the end of the day, he didn't even make the trip over. So this year there was a lot of that as well, but then it was a championship game, so it was like, and then there's a lot of speculation because here in the Pacific Northwest, of course, our field is indoors, our stadium, so you can't really have a real grass field long term. They can do it for temporary, like a tournament or something, but not long term. So there's a lot of speculation as well that Messi does not play on turf. But he showed up, at least in spirit, because he was not really effective here last week. The young defenders were out to prove themselves and were all over him. But then yesterday they played the second leg of the semifinal, and to see who advances. And this time it was in Miami last night, and I don't remember what the final score was. It was like 4-1, I think, at the end for my hometown team. We were the visitors. And then, of course, because it's a tournament, we have the whole like scoring and aggregate thing. So it was just like the game at home last week. Miami did not score at all. And the hometown team had scored twice. So they already had 2 home goals and then 3 or 4 away goals against Miami's 1 goal in total. Home goal. So there was like no chance for them to come back after that. All right. So there's you can kind of see there where some light is shining through. There, where the rust is starting after like 20 years. There, I think you can see that on camera. Yeah, you can see that. Those spots there. Somebody asked why I always keep my guards on my thing. It's because of this. I use it as a hook. Always putting my stuff on the side of the trailer so I don't have to keep bending over to pick them up if I set them down, to open and close the door and lock the door. These gorilla lifts are nice because a little bit of slack there. I can kind of leave this in that position open so I can still mow around it. Lower the wheels on this lawn compared to that last one. Lower the front to 2. What do we got here for questions? Oh, you guys have been having a field day here with the comments. I gotta go all the way back. Hey, Tommy. Everybody else. Hello there, Bill. Guy playing with tools. I'm waiting for the videos to upload and run across this feed. It's always fun to see someone besides me working. Hello, guy. Hello, Dallas, Texas here. Well, welcome from Dallas. The noise cancellation is really good on your mic. Yes, this is the ISO tunes. I'm using the Link 2.0s. These are the over-the-ear orange model, but they have on top of the noise cancellation, they also have a external boom mic that you can connect. I'll show you in a second here. On the dark side of the force, he only uses battery-powered equipment. I don't understand all the words in that sentence. I don't think you are using that word right. That's not for yard tools. Okay. Let's see. Go back to the other. I'll show you the headphones. You guys will see them in the. I don't know if you can see my reflection in the mirror there, or maybe I can look in the mirror there. Oh no, I can't do that because that's not gonna work. Duh. Anyways, there's if you can see that reflection. It's got the boom mic. It's optional, a little accessory that you can get. So the microphone's right in front of my mouth. And luckily, it actually connects to, well, obviously it's Bluetooth, so it connects to your phone via Bluetooth. And but most times, most phones at least, would recognize it as just a phone call device. But luckily, the iPhone, and I'm not sure if it would be the same with Androids, just see it as a microphone that can be used with other things. So it allows me to use it with the video, the camera app, as well as the streaming apps as my microphone. So it basically gives me kind of like a wireless mic at the same time as giving me hearing protection and noise cancellation and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it works pretty good. The only time, depending on the mower, if you watch some of my ones where I use the big gas mowers, then sometimes it's not so great on those ones. It gives like a real echo effect. The noise cancellation trying to cancel while I'm talking kind of makes me sound very distant. But with the battery stuff, then works great. Just like battery stuff. See if you guys making fun of my battery stuff. Gee. Tell you, I used gas 2-stroke for 17, 18 years. It's only been 2-3 years using battery stuff, and I will never go back to using gas. Here's an example. I'm talking to you guys. The noise cancellation is working well. I have one ear. I don't even have my hearing protection on. It's kind of off to the side. Like, I wouldn't be doing that with gas. Just the noise aspect. And then the smell of exhaust, breathing that in for so many years. Especially my aerator. My aerator is like terrible because of the muffler position is like facing straight back at the operator. That bluebird. But that one's one of the worst offenders for me. It just smells, makes my clothes smell disgusting. At the end of the day, you just wonder, like, what's that doing to your lungs? If that much has been absorbed into the cotton of your clothing, how's it in your bloodstream? Anyways, I'm not here to tell anybody to do what thing or to use battery or whatever. I'm just letting you know. Somebody asked previously, just kind of explaining that my transition to battery was very gradual. I just found that I enjoyed it more and more. And every year it just seems to get better and better and better. Technology and stuff like that. Like, for instance, this Crest stuff is very expensive. I will give it that. That is the biggest downfall with battery stuff. But the fact that this Crest battery, this honking, huge, massive battery that this thing has the potential with the right charger, because they have multiple different types of chargers, but has the potential with their mobile charger that is like their big truck mounted charger to charge this huge, like see the red on the top of the mower there. Underneath that is just one giant battery that pulls in and out. I call it the suitcase battery because it's got like a little handle, kind of looks like a briefcase or so. Anyways, a battery that size, you can charge from 0 to 100% in 8 minutes. Yes, you heard me correctly. Not 18 minutes, not 80 minutes, 8, as in under 10 minutes. Now, that requires a very, very expensive charger. But even with the regular plug it in the wall charger, that very, very expensive charger is basically like a DC fast charger. So essentially, you are charging an onboard battery that you're taking with you overnight. And then you take that, and because that current has already been converted to DC, which is what batteries use from the AC that houses, at least here in North America, use, it can just dump that energy right into the batteries with no conversion process. So that's why you can get that 8-minute recharge time. But even with a fast charger, regular like plug it in the wall charger, you can still charge this battery from 0 to 100% in 24 minutes, which is pretty respectable. And then the fact that with high lift blades, on average, I can mow about 7 houses of my normal houses that are like front and backyard on one battery is pretty darn good. And only going to get better as the years go on. So just, it's not for everybody, but I definitely enjoy it. Where it's really crazy, like this stuff is, like I said, pretty expensive and stuff, but when you get into like the stand-on mowers, sit-down mowers, then yeah, it's pretty outrageous, the cost, because of the just size of the battery that's in there. Some of these commercial mowers that I've seen, 0 turns that are battery, have like same size battery as the electric car I bought for my kids to drive to university every day. It's like crazy that you'd have a battery that size in a lawnmower. So yes, 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 I love battery equipment. Yes, 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 I have an electric car as well. But, you know, everything has pluses and minuses. The electric car, for example, is fantastic for my kids to commute. They travel about an hour each way to university every day. And we went from previously, they were using I had a Mazda 4-cylinder, Mazda 5. It's my wife's old car. That's what they were driving previously. An hour each way every day to university. And we went from roughly about $7,000. Oh, the deck is nice and clean. Those clippings are dry. About $7,000 in fuel per year for that commute to just under 700 for the same amount of driving with the battery car. It costs us on average about what did we work out? We worked it out to being $1 $70 per day based on our electricity costs here of approximately, well, we have two tiers. There's a starting tier, and then you have like a threshold. If your household passes that threshold, then the price goes up. So the starting tier is 9 cents per kilowatt hour, and then the more expensive is 14 cents. So I calculated that 700 based on the usage from the showing in the car chargers app on the house, based on the 14 cents being the higher rate, and it was just under $700 for the entire year. So it has definitely paid itself. And I bought the car used, so it wasn't super expensive. Tommy says popular, except when it comes to women. They all have some kind of allergy towards Tommy. That's funny. And who else do we have? We have Robert Fitzsimmons watching from Florida, USA. I'm using the Gen 2 Milwaukee trimmer as well. Awesome. Are you a lawn care business there, Robert? And have you noticed, I know with the first generation string trimmer, some people in warmer climates, like I would expect Florida, complained about that first generation kind of shutting down when it would overheat and stuff. I never had that issue here, but I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm only trimming really small properties. So I've never had any instances of the Milwaukee stuff shutting down. But this new, obviously, second generation stuff was redesigned to address that because of all the thermal management now they have, the fans and the vents and all that sort of stuff. So I've heard anecdotally that people had issues with the first generation ones, but I've never met anybody who actually had issues with it. I just pulled this off here. Up the steps. I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. What do I have next? Oh, I have the French fry house next. The French fry house. Have you guys seen the French fry house? I live streamed from there last week at the French fry house. The city keeps coming along and making a huge mess as well. Their construction, they've torn up that side now, the other side of the driveway. And a few months ago, it was this whole section, well, not a few months ago, but just before the fall last year. And then they left this all full of gravel. Look, we're down to 1 bar now on the fuel gauge. That's pretty amazing, considering I've been these same 2 batteries using them since Tuesday without recharging them. Oh. All right. I think we're good. French fry house is coming up. Oh, it's getting warm. I'm gonna have to open these thing. I'm gonna lose my mic here because it's gonna switch to the Bluetooth. Unfortunately. So that also means no noise. There's a nasty wasp in here. Oh, just flew out. All right, guys, that is it for this one. I'm gonna head to the French fry house. That one's a bit of a drive away. I don't know what I'm here with the battery. End the stream because the phone needs a charge. Maybe I will do another live stream after the French fry house on one of the bigger properties. Once I do the French fry house, I'm gonna head back home to use the washroom and then grab the bigger mowers. So probably bring out the Navigator again this week, and then head to a couple of houses with the Navigator. So maybe if signal and everything's good over there, I'll do another live stream. So until then, guys, thanks for joining me on this live stream. I appreciate it and enjoyed the funny comments and the chats. All right, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you guys, if you are interested in these live streams, hit that subscribe button and do the notification bell because then you'll get notified right away when I do a live stream. Unfortunately, with live streams, it's not something that I can advertise in advance because I don't never know what the situation is, what the cell signal is going to be like. It can change from week to week depending on weather, all sorts of different things. So it's kind of impromptu each and every time. Either way, thanks again for joining me, guys, and maybe we'll see you guys in the afternoon. All right, talk to you later.